we've just seen a couple of examples of inquiry-based labs, and they looked fairly different. They targeted different student populations, were different in scope, required different levels of resources. What then defines an inquiry-based approach to lab instruction? Well, in 2000, the National Research Council published Inquiry in the National Science Education Standards, a guide for teaching and learning. And in that, they indicated that in inquiry-based processes, students engage in many of the same activities and thinking processes as scientists. What then are these activities and thinking processes? What is it that scientists do? Well, multiple policy documents published over decades, including those from the National Research Council and the American Association for the Advancement of Science, indicate that scientists ask questions, they propose hypotheses and models, they design, carry out, and analyze studies to evaluate those hypotheses and models. They communicate the results and interpretations, and then they revise the results and interpretation in response to peer review. To help teachers think about how to incorporate these thinking processes and activities into an inquiry-based approach to lab, Gabriella Weaver, Keanan Russell, and Donald Wink proposed 7 elements of inquiry. These elements of inquiry are observing and questioning, designing experiments, collecting data, analyzing data, repeating, and reporting and responding to peer review. So these are the elements of inquiry that we want to think about when we're considering an inquiry-based approach to lab instruction. So what are key elements to include when you're thinking about doing your own inquiry-based lab? Well, as we've already alluded to, it's really important to include instructor guidance to help students develop inquiry skills. As we've said, the kinds of thinking, the activities that we're asking students to do are really challenging, and so we need to provide support and guidance to help them define a research problem, to help them formulate hypotheses, to help them plan an experiment. We can't just toss them in and expect them to be able to do these challenging things without helping them figure out, practice, and learn how to do these things. It's also very important to include an opportunity for peer-to-peer interactions and teaching. Now, what this looks like can vary. So you can have multiple short interactions with peers where they work in pairs that change from week to week, or you can have more long-term collaborations, as we saw in the biological sciences example, where 8 peers work together throughout the course of the semester. You can also simply incorporate opportunities for the students to present to their peers and respond to their peers' feedback. So exactly what that peer-to-peer instruction and teaching looks like can vary, but it's very important to include that element. It's also important to include an opportunity for students to give a summative presentation of their work, either oral or written. As we talked about earlier, this opportunity to sort of synthesize a whole presentation of their work gives the students the opportunity to practice bringing elements together, evaluating what's important to talk about, and to present the types of analysis that they did. And so providing this opportunity helps solidify students' understanding of the whole process.